Lena's perfectly polished nails curled around the coffee pot, her Cartier watch hidden beneath the cuff of her silk sleeve. At 32, she wasn't here to serve coffee at her in-laws' business meeting out of obligation. No, this was a role thrust upon her by Margaret, her ever-condescending mother-in-law. "Be careful not to spill," Margaret sneered, adjusting her ill-fitting knockoff designer blazer. "We wouldn't want you embarrassing the family more than you already do." A ripple of laughter spread through the room, except from Ethan, Lena's husband, who suddenly found his laptop screen fascinating. After 5 years of marriage, he had mastered the art of silent complicity, his avoidance of conflict coming at his wife's expense. Lena's grip remained steady as she poured. Her Stanford MBA and the reality of her true position, the silent CEO of one of the nation's largest tech conglomerates, were still her little secret, kept at Ethan's insistence to keep the peace. Margaret's voice cut through the room. "Hurry up, coffee girl. Our CEO is arriving any minute, and we need to appear professional." Ah, the so-called acquisition offer. Lena bit back a smirk. She knew exactly what was happening. Her company, Novatech Industries, had been strategically acquiring shares of her in-laws' failing business for months. Today's meeting wasn't just about negotiations, it was about sealing their fate. The door swung open, and a familiar voice filled the air. "Apologies for the delay." Daniel Park, Novatech's public-facing CEO, stepped inside before abruptly halting. His gaze landed on Lena, coffee pot in hand, and confusion flickered across his face. "Mrs. Caldwell." "Just Lena," she interrupted smoothly, watching Margaret's puzzled expression. "Cream and sugar?" Daniel recovered quickly, though his glance at her held a silent question. "Black, please." "Thank you." Margaret practically shoved Lena aside in her eagerness. "Mr. Park, it's an honor to have you here. Please ignore our daughter-in-law. She's just helping out since we couldn't get proper catering today." Daniel's eyebrows shot up. "Your daughter-in-law?" Margaret heaved a dramatic sigh. "Unfortunately, but let's discuss business. We received your offer last week, though honestly, it's lower than we anticipated." Lena slipped into the corner, casually tapping out a text to Daniel. "Play along. You'll understand soon." Daniel cleared his throat. "Perhaps we should first review the company's current standing before discussing numbers." Margaret launched into a rehearsed monologue about their proud family legacy and market strength, conveniently omitting their plummeting sales and impending bankruptcy. Lena had reviewed the real figures. Without intervention, they wouldn't last another quarter. And of course, Margaret concluded smugly, "With my son Ethan taking over as CEO next month, we expect exponential growth." Lena's phone buzzed with notifications. Her next board meeting was about to start. "I need to step out," she said, gathering her things. Margaret scoffed. "Typical. No respect for family matters. This is why we're keeping the business within the real family." Lena smiled, finally ready to drop the act. "Actually, I have a board meeting to attend. Daniel, I'll see you there." Daniel grinned. "Of course, Madam CEO." The room fell into stunned silence. Margaret's champagne glass slipped from her grasp, shattering against the floor. "CEO?" Ethan stammered, his face draining of color. "Lena, what is going on?" "Perhaps," Lena said coolly, "we should clarify who is acquiring them. Novatech Industries, my company, currently owns 48% of your business. Today's offer is for the remaining 52%. Margaret's face twisted in disbelief. "That's impossible." "We would have known." "Would you?" Lena slid a folder onto the table. "Like you knew about the shell companies buying up your stock? Or the real reason your biggest contracts were canceled last quarter? Everything is documented right here." Ethan snatched at the papers, desperation creeping into his voice. "You've been spying on us? Your own family?" "Spying?" Lena chuckled. "No, Ethan. I conducted due diligence. Something you might have noticed if you'd actually read the reports I gave you last year. But you chose to believe your mother when she claimed I was meddling in family business." Margaret paled as she skimmed the documents. "These numbers. They can't be right." Daniel nodded. "Mrs. Caldwell has been thorough. Everything checks out. All this time serving coffee, letting us think that I was just the coffee girl." Lena adjusted her channel jacket. "While you were too busy scheming to keep me in my place, I was learning everything about your company. It wasn't difficult, your weaknesses were glaring." Ethan's voice wavered. We'll fight this. Our lawyers. Your lawyers? Lena interrupted, her smile sharpening. They work for the board, not your family. And as of today, the board works for me. Margaret collapsed into her chair. Why go through all this pretense? Lena exhaled, allowing herself a moment of reflection. 5 years ago, I offered to help. I have the expertise, the connections, and the capital to turn things around. But you looked me in the eye and said, what was it again? Ah, yes. Gold-digging daughters-in-law should know their place. She glanced at her watch. Speaking of places, I have a company to run. Daniel? As she strode toward the exit, Ethan's voice broke through. Lena, wait, we can talk about this. She paused just long enough to glance back. Like we talked about it last Christmas, when your mother announced you as CEO and you sat there silently while she told me to focus on more suitable activities like planning dinner parties. She shook her head. That time has passed, Ethan. Now it's time for business. Her heels clicked against the marble floor as she stepped into the elevator, her reflection staring back at her in the mirrored walls. She saw what Margaret never had, not just a daughter-in-law, but a force of nature. Her phone buzzed with another message from Daniel. Brilliantly played, boss. Board's ready when you are. Lena smiled. The real work would begin tomorrow. Restructuring, innovation, leadership. But today was about justice, served with a side of irony, and a perfect cup of coffee. The doors opened to the lobby, where a group of board members waited. Mrs. Caldwell. They greeted her respectfully. Behind them, through the glass doors, she could see reporters gathering. Word traveled fast in the business world. Lena straightened her shoulders, ready to face the press. Let them tell the story of how the coffee girl became the CEO. Let them write about the family that underestimated her. But most importantly, let them watch as she transformed a failing family business into something extraordinary. After all, she thought, stepping into the sunlight, success was the sweetest revenge of all. The press conference ended with a standing ovation. Lena had just outlined her vision for the company's future, a complete digital transformation, sustainable manufacturing practices, and most importantly, job security for all current employees. Mrs. Caldwell. Reporters called out as she left the podium. What about your in-laws' role in the company? Lena smiled diplomatically. All personnel decisions will be made based on merit and qualification. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a board meeting to attend. Her phone had been buzzing constantly since the morning's revelation. 37 missed calls from Ethan, dozens of text messages from Margaret, and surprisingly, an email from her father-in-law, Robert. You've outplayed us all, his message read. I should have listened 5 years ago when you warned me about our outdated systems. The company's yours now, just please take care of our employees. At least one of them had grace in defeat. The board meeting was brief and decisive. Lena's restructuring plan was approved unanimously, and by evening the company's stock had jumped 12% on news of the acquisition. When Lena finally left the office, she found Ethan waiting by her car. You've reached a new low, he spat. Using our marriage to spy on the family business. Lena calmly unlocked her car. Interesting. 5 years of watching your mother humiliate me was acceptable. But protecting a company and its employees from incompetent management is a new low. Mom was right about you all along. You're nothing but a... Careful, Ethan. Lena cut him off. Your prenup becomes void if you publicly disparage me. Section 7, paragraph 3, the clause your mother insisted on, ironically enough. Ethan's face reddened. You won't get away with this. I already have. Lena opened her car door. Oh, and Ethan. I've taken the liberty of moving my things out of the house. The divorce papers will arrive tomorrow. Don't worry, I'm not interested in your personal assets. I have a company to run. As she drove away, another text from Margaret arrived. You'll regret this. Nobody will ever trust you in business again. Lena laughed out loud. Her phone was already full of messages from other CEOs congratulating her on the brilliant acquisition. In the business world, strategic genius commanded respect, not family politics. The next few weeks brought expected drama. Margaret attempted to rally family shareholders against the takeover, only to discover Lena had ironclad contracts with them all. Ethan tried to claim his position as rightful CEO, but his lack of qualifications became embarrassingly apparent during board interviews. Your mother's influence won't help you here, Lena told him during his formal interview. We need a CEO who understands modern business practices, not someone who got the job through nepotism. The company's transformation began immediately. Lena introduced automated systems that had been desperately needed, established a proper HR department to address years of nepotistic hiring, and implemented transparent financial reporting. Employees who had suffered under the old management began to thrive. Production efficiency increased by 30% in the first month alone. The toxic culture of fear and favoritism was replaced by meritocracy and innovation. 3 months after the takeover, Lena received an unexpected visitor. Margaret appeared in her office, looking significantly less polished than usual. I sold my house, she announced without preamble. The one you used to compliment so much. Turns out maintaining appearances is expensive when you're not siphonning company funds. Lena continued reviewing reports. Is there a point to this visit? How did you do it? Margaret's voice cracked. All these years serving coffee, enduring our comments, why didn't you just tell us who you were? Lena finally looked up. Would you have believed me? Or would you have pushed Ethan to divorce me and marry someone more suitable? We're family. No, Lena interrupted. We were never family. I was the outsider you tolerated because Ethan refused to marry your friend's daughter. The coffee girl you could humiliate to feel better about your own insecurities. And now you've taken everything. Wrong again. Lena stood. I've saved everything. This company was 3 months from bankruptcy. Your employees, the ones you claim to care about, were about to lose their jobs. I didn't take anything. I rescued it from your family's mismanagement. Margaret's shoulders slumped. And Ethan. Ethan made his choice every time he sat silently while you belittled me. The divorce will be final next week. After Margaret left, Lena received another email from Robert. Watched your presentation to the shareholders today. Finally saw what Ethan and Margaret were too proud to see. You're exactly what this company needed. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. 1 year after the takeover, Lena stood addressing the company's annual meeting. The stock price had doubled. Employee satisfaction was at an all-time high. The company had expanded into 3 new markets. Last year, she concluded her speech, someone told me I was just the coffee girl. Today, I want to thank them, because sometimes being underestimated is the greatest advantage of all. The applause was deafening. That evening, as Lena worked late in her office, her assistant brought in a familiar face, Melissa, Margaret's former choice for Ethan's wife. I heard you're hiring for a management position, Melissa said nervously. I know this is awkward, given everything, but I have an MBA from Harvard, and unlike Ethan, I actually earned it myself. Lena studied the young woman. You know what the hardest part of success is, Melissa? Remembering to give others the chance you wish someone had given you. She gestured to a chair. Let's talk about your qualifications. 2 years after the takeover, Lena received a wedding invitation. Ethan was marrying a real estate agent, someone far from the corporate world his mother had envisioned for him. Margaret had moved to Florida, where she reportedly complained constantly about her scheming ex-daughter-in-law to anyone who would listen. Lena sent a wedding gift, a coffee maker with a note. Some people serve coffee, others build empires. Congratulations on your wedding. Best wishes, your ex-CEO. And every morning, when she arrived at work, she'd smile at the new company motto hanging in the lobby. Success is served best with a side of humble beginnings.